Hey everybody, Matt here. Today I just have a real short video to show you the workbench I've been using. So as you can see, I've just got an old beat up piece of plywood. Measures 4 feet by just under 2 feet, 23.5 inches. This piece of plywood is sitting on top of a Black Decker Workmate. To take off the plywood, I'm just going to unclamp it. Pull off the plywood. So as you can see on the underside of the piece of plywood, I just have a 2x4 that's screwed down. And it's the 2x4 that the Workmate clamps onto. This particular Workmate is a Workmate Plus made by Black Decker, and it happens to be the Medallion series. I have no idea if they make these any longer. I've had this for literally decades, and it's stood up to the test of time. It's got kind of an interesting feature in that you can remove one half of the table and position it into a couple of different slots. Excuse me. So depending on what you wanted to clamp in the Workmate, you can make the opening bigger or smaller. In my case, I use that slot and then clamp the 2x4 in here, which holds the tabletop on. So the nice thing about this is that I can fold the Workmate down. I just like to put these in each of the holes so I don't lose them. There's a couple little clips over here. Allows me to fold down the table, move in the legs, and now I've got it all folded up. Takes up very little space. So this particular one, it doesn't quite stand up on its own. It wants to tip ever so slightly. So I either lean it up against something else, or I put a little wedge underneath the feet to keep it standing up on its own. So to unfold this, I just need to open up the legs. So these three legs will stay open on their own. This one, over the years, this clip has broken, and so it doesn't quite stay on its own. So it takes a little extra effort to get it to stand on its legs. And then I release the clips, swing it back up, and it clicks into place, locks into place. And it's very sturdy. It's got a very wide footprint. Take these little feet, put them in the tray, just so I don't lose them. This looks like about the right gap for the 2x4. Clamp it down, and now it's not perfect, but it's not bad for a workbench that breaks down so easily. And of course I can use the Workmate without the tabletop on. If for some reason I wanted to work on a piece of wood like this, I could stick the little feet in there, close the clamp, and now it's pretty well held in there. Here's another little nice feature of this particular one. I can take off this part of the vise, close up the clamp, and it closes edge to edge. As an alternative to a sort of a heavy-duty folding workbench like this Black Decker Workmate, or actually Workmate Plus, I found at my local Harbor Freight store they also have a folding workbench. It's nowhere near as robustly designed or as sturdy, but it's not bad. Cost me a little bit less than $22, so it's very, very inexpensive. It does have some jaws in here, so you can use that to clamp your workpiece down. The one thing I've found with this so far is that the jaws only open up that far, which is a little bit shy of getting a 2x4 in there. So if you wanted to make a table like I did, a tabletop with a 2x4 that runs down the middle, you'd have to cut down the 2x4 a little bit so it would fit in between here. Otherwise, not a bad alternative if you need something very inexpensive that's reasonably sturdy, just depending on what you're working on, and also folds up to take up very little space. So let me fold this up and I'll show you how little space it does take. So let me fold this up. This is quite a bit different than the Workmate. Folds more like a step ladder. And it will not stand up by itself when it's folded. So you need to lean it up against something. So let me just take a second and set this up again. Again, it's more like a step ladder than the Workmate. There you go. So there you have it. This is the very simple, albeit kind of crude, workbench I've been using on and off for years and years. I'm sure as I move along and work on some more projects here, I will build a more appropriate workbench. As soon as I clear out some more space in the shop so that I have a dedicated area where I can leave a workbench set up all the time, then I will most likely build perhaps a 2x4 workbench. I've seen a lot of other guys on YouTube do. So I look forward to doing that. For now, thanks for watching.